look at the effectiveness of the international law in challenging the land grab. I think you are on the right track. Even if they will be effective in the end, probably they may not save many landowners. But I think there is no harm in trying to do that. I think one thing maybe that you have already started looking at is the actual laws that I think the international and the regional laws that could help or probably mitigate this disaster. And the second one is just maybe looking to the laws, the Ethiopian laws, even if I think using it to defend the farmer side might be difficult and unthinkable, in fact, that at the national level, but probably at the international level they might be doing. But there is, as you have correctly pointed out, I think looking at the law, the 1994 Constitution, I think the way it is implemented right now regarding land is that government is the absolute owner of land. But that law, I think, to my understanding, doesn't say that, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really say much beyond that. But to the extent I think you read it, this at least makes the states co-owner. The people and the states, that's what it says, it's not absolute. But in the subsequent laws clarifying that, they have included or made it look like or read the state owns everything. And they went back into the regional state laws, and they have all similarities and differences. But if you look at the northern, the Amhara, Tigrayan state, they have similarity, but at the same time different. And they have levels of how at least farmers affect themselves. When you move to Oromia into other regional states, in fact, it's not absent, you don't see it. So probably our lawyers, I think all those who have the expertise in this area could look at and see maybe also the challenge on that basis.
Thank you.
But I think as Professor Asafa said, the effectiveness of the international system itself is questionable, but at least we have to give some credit and if there is a possibility to use it to save some farmers' land, I think it's worth it.
Thank you. Okay, we will answer the two. Maybe there are suggestions, but Dr. Asafa has asked and Garma will be addressing them.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Asafa, for raising this question. Of course, it's frustrating. I'm frustrated because of you know that we are looking things relatively. The main important thing what we have to do is we have to document and file the case. When we are filing the case, we are not 100% expecting the positive, or especially in it might take long time, or it might be delayed for different reasons. The main important thing what I can see here is, if we file the case of the land grab at ICC, what we have to look is, this case is already filed. The members of ICC are really can make impose on this on the country, or they can re-look at it. Especially Ethiopia at this moment is a member of Human Rights Council. This is violation. Most of the Human Rights Council members from 47, those which recognize Ethiopia is violating human rights in different areas, are not more than 5. The others are just really illiterate about what Ethiopia is doing. So what I expect from the judge is, it might take many long time or young years. The most important thing what I can see is the member countries can impose on Ethiopia, can put pressure, because Ethiopia is denying what signed the treaty law, especially the treaty law. which is the part of international law. So, as you said, you might not get overnight a positive thing, but in another way, indirectly, Ethiopia, the different countries, especially the member of Human Rights Council and the members of ICC, there are 122 countries, they can put pressure on Ethiopia to avoid doing such things, because violating the treaty which is signed internationally is violating international, not only Ethiopian people. This is what I expect.
Any more questions?
I want to say that theft of property using the cover of illegitimately gained sovereignty ought not to be condoned under any circumstances, and we should not say, well, the state owns the land, let's just give it up, because that's what you're implying we should do. We should not accept the circumstance. And I can say today, I can say we should not accept this.
Okay, I recognize Dr. Makuria and up there, and then Jack. Makuria.
My question is the statistics you have, Roma, and I think the Hatamo has also recognized that statistic. You have 1.8 million hectares of land statistic. But the figure we know is double that. What is the source of that statistics?
Okay.
The other question I have is to Professor Vichaka. You have raised three things that are very serious when it comes to Oromia. One is, I don't know if land is leased. You didn't mention that, but I want to know. You are saying that population growth, luxury, and land deficit, which means the land is becoming less and less. Because of land is taken from them. What land is taken? Who takes land from them? Is there land lease? Is there land lease in Oromia?
Is there land?
Lease, I think.
Land lease.
Yeah.
Okay. Pass it to him, maybe.
Thank you all for being here. My question is, the argument for the land grabs, that the land is being used in an underproductive way. Besides human rights violation, what answers do you have to address the economic demand that is, which is the reason why the land grab is happening?
Yes, but these land grabs have been failing economically.
One more question up there, yeah. That's the last one.
Still asking questions.
Let me make it brief. My first question is about the land grab.
Just one question.
Okay. Briefly, how much can it help us to target the consumers of these international corporations with the products, that they grab the land and produce some things over there and bring it out to the international market? If we try, or if anything is already done, that would be good and it's good to pursue. How far can, or do you think it can help us to pursue the consumers of the product of these international grabbers, working with NGOs like say in Holland, in America, in UK, elsewhere, to bring to the attention of the consumers that the products of this corporates comes from the world where poverty is really doing hard, the land is proud, and it comes from there. You can show those videos we have been seeing over there. And I think it can help us if we begin that.
Thank you.
Can I go to the next?
No, sir. Now all of you have made the shortest we have. We are already run out of time, but we'll answer this question. No more question.
Yes, this is already being done, except that we're not doing it. And many of these land grabs, the economy of these land grabs is very negative. They are failing. And so because we're being told that that's the way it's supposed to be, doesn't mean we have to accept it. And yes, many of the international companies are finding resistance and they are finding that they need to back down. So this is the trend for the future, and we need to help ourselves get this trend going in Oromia.
Okay, the question for me was whether land is being leased and what impact this would have on. Okay, the question for me is if land is being leased or which some describe it as land grabbing, that's happening all over. There is a growing demand for livestock development being shipped to to the Middle East, to many different parts of the world, and the live animal export source is the Borana area. And so, yes, there is that problem. Land leasing is part of the problem that makes livelihood for the Borana difficult. Not only that, the fact that others are also competing for the same resources like the Somalis. There have been conflicts in many deaths due to conflict because of the dwindling resource base to go around the neighboring regions.
Can I just make a point? Yeah. Again, I'm not an economist by training, but for the question somebody asked about the economic demand for land, again, like whose economy are we talking about? Like who's demanding, there's a lot of talk about growth. The country is growing at 10%, kind of figures that's very contested. But development for us, when we were doing this research, is basically a justification to assert what rightfully belongs to the people who are indigenous. So if you're talking about there's a lot of development rhetoric around land grab, but again, as you know, this statistics comes up again and again. 50% of the national wealth in Ethiopia is controlled by, the ruling party, the corporations, and also the government itself. The government is not of the people for the people. It's a government against the people. So it's a government of a minority. It's leasing lands in areas that are inhabited by none other than its own people. I mean, like, for example, have you heard of a land grab in Tigray? Have you heard of a land grab in Amhara region? Or how much is that? It's really insignificant, statistically speaking. So if it's national economics, commonsensically, you have to have a holistic approach to the problem and lease as much land as you can uniformly across the board. So that's why we're making a point that part of this scheme of land grab itself is a part of disempowering the Oromo and the indigenous peoples of the South, who cannot speak up because a lot of these people are evicted. It's actually shocking to our conscience that how people haven't put up strong resistance against land grabbers in the state because the state uses its machinery. So I think politics plays into this a lot. So thank you.
I want to give an answer for Dr. Bucha's question. The statistics which I showed is there is a written on overhead of the statistics says from 2009-11 because I didn't update. That I took as an example. The result is I know that it's more than that. So that statistic shows up to only 2011. By now it is double. And I know that they have got a plan, in the way, 2 years, 3 years plan, they are increasing by double. Thank you. My video is not working, so I'm sorry for all that.
Please give a round of applause for this.